We all have 24 hours in a day, but that doesn't mean that you can't maximize those 24 hours to the fullest potential. I get asked all the time how I get everything done, and while I don't get everything done, that's impossible. I do think there are lots of ways to fit everything in that you want to in the day and make progress on your goals, fit in time for yourself, get time with your family, and do the best you can to balance. So today I'm going to take you guys through my method, how I decide when I'm going to be doing certain things, how I get a lot done and still have time for the things that matter the most to me. I can be really productive, and I know you guys can too. Okay, so what I recommend you have for this method is your planner or some blank pieces of paper if you don't want to do it in your planner until you have it all figured out. And then I also keep a to-do book or just pieces of paper that you can jot down notes on. So when I'm thinking about how I'm gonna fit everything in to my week, I really think about time blocking. Now haven't researched time blocking a ton. I know it can be really helpful, but this just happens to be how I do it. So I think about open periods of time and closed off periods of time. So open periods of time would be before your kids wake up, if you have kids, or when you have free time in the morning, any free time you have during the day, maybe your lunch break, maybe you go in later for work so you have extra time in the morning. Maybe after work you have an hour or two to work, or maybe if you have a commute on a bus, that would be kind of like free time when you could be doing something. And then, after supper, later night, that kind of stuff, if you have a pretty standard schedule. Only you know what time periods you have. For me in particular, I'm just going to be walking you through my week so you can kind of see how it works for me and adapt it to you. So for me, I know I have time early in the morning before my kids wake up. I have time during nap, and then I have time, free time at night after my kids go to sleep. Those are my areas of time pretty much every day where I have free time. So in my planner, I just delegate it like this. This is where I write down my early morning tasks that I want to do. This middle one is where I write down what I want to do during nap, and the bottom is where I write down what I'm going to be doing pretty much down here after my kids go to bed. And the other spaces up here, I will write just like any morning things that I have to do when I'm not having free times, like during daycare, any appointments, stuff like that, and my husband's work schedule. And then right here is where I write like what we're having for dinner, if we have any classes or activities in the night that I do with my kids. So that's how I kind of mark out my free time. This is my morning free time, my nap free time, and this is my evening free time. So now you want to grab a piece of paper and just write out all the things that you want to make sure you get to. They may not just be fun things, they may be things you have to do. So I'm just going to kind of take you through. You might have family time you want to do. Maybe you want to have like family story time every night, or devotional, Bible time, or you want to watch a show together, or maybe individual time with your kids, stuff like that. Exercise, when are you going to fit that in? Grocery shopping to some extent, or any kind of shopping. If you have a side hustle or a business, when are you going to fit that in? Any hobbies you like to do, when are you going to do those? Date nights with your significant other, maybe time with your friends, cleaning, household maintenance, lawn mowing, all that kind of stuff. Any paperwork you may need to do, like bill paying and stuff like that, budgeting, and so much more. So just make a list of all the stuff you have to fit into the week and stuff you would like to fit into the week. And this will just be kind of your guide for most weeks, but of course it can change, from week to week as different things happen. So when I'm looking at this, I like to see things I can group together and things that I need to do every day. So the things I would like to do most days is like exercise, some kind of family time. I like to work on my business. Cleaning are all things that I should be doing most days. And then these other things are things that I fit in when I can. And like bills would be like a weekly thing. Grocery shopping would be weekly. And the other things I can kind of fit in as I go. So what I like to do is, I personally am a creature of habit. I like routine. So I try to fit in some of these things I need to do every day into my free time, and I like to make them a routine. So for example, maybe, along with exercise, you might put self-care. I like to do the miracle morning. So that is something I do in the morning, my miracle morning. And I want to fit in exercise there. I fit in reading. I fit in any like devotional and journaling. So I'm fitting all these things in that I want to be doing every day as a routine. And that's something I do during this time. Another thing I do during this time, I guess if I was going to make an extra thing, is work on my business. So this is something I do from 4 to 5 a.m. and then from 5 to 6, I do my miracle morning. So I just make it a routine so that I don't really have to think about it. I don't have to figure out every single week, oh, when am I going to work on that? When am I going to get my exercise in? When am I going to read? I just try to do the exact same thing every day and make it a routine. Now you can take a break on the weekends or on days when you had to stay up late or whatever, but most days you keep it the same. That really just opens up your mind, frees you from the struggle of always having to figure out a new plan for each day. So try to do the same exact thing every day. If you have a varying schedule like my husband, he does these things, but he tries to fit it around his schedule. So he'll have to do this every week, but he has a basic plan for if he works early and a basic plan for if he works later, so that, each day is maybe different, but he just follows one routine or the other depending on his schedule. Okay, then for the night, I also like to have a routine. I like to work on my business a little more from 7 to 8, depending on when my kids go to bed and whatnot. I may have less time or more time. And then I like to do some reading and just winding down. And this may be when I watch TV if I want, but I have a basic routine that I do in the evening to keep it consistent and to make sure I'm getting these things in. Okay, so another routine time that I try to make pretty routine is the nap time. Now, I vary what I do during that time, but I have a basic routine of what I do. Now, this may be something you do on your lunch break or during your commute. If you have a long commute, you may listen to audiobooks, you may make calls for work, stuff like that. What can you fit in during that quote unquote downtime? So what I always start with is Bible time. I read the Bible every day during nap at the beginning, and that I just try to stay consistent so I'm fitting it in because it's something that's important to me. And then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I work on my business and I will have varying tasks during that time. On Friday, I do my Sunday basket routine, and I will have a video about that on Friday so you can see exactly what I do that really maximizes my time during the week and really saves me from being overwhelmed on the weekend. And then on Monday and Wednesday, I just have open tasks. So I might make appointments. I might look up something I really want to be looking up or buy Christmas presents or whatever. I try to keep those open because I think it's important to be flexible as well because every week is so different. But I know the basic times I'm working on my business in the morning, afternoon, and then 2 days a week. I know the basic times I'm doing my self-care and reading and stuff like that. And then as far as groceries go, we have switched to Walmart pickup. So I plan that on Fridays and then I pick it up on Saturdays. So that is routine as well. I know exactly when we're getting groceries and stuff like that. I also do my errand running on Saturday mornings most weeks. I pay bills on Friday and that kind of thing. So I really try, and I don't need to write this in every week because I already know these things are happening. So once I plan it, I try to stick to it, have these routines, and then I have some flexibility to do those extra tasks, maybe cleaning, maybe any extra thing that goes into your week that just pops up. But in general, I know when these things are happening. And then when the week comes about, that's when I plan friend time. Date nights are usually one of these nights if I have time. And then the cool thing is, this whole thing right here, most nights are family time. I'm getting lots of family time in despite having a huge workload because I prioritize it. I don't plan to do much of any kind of task when my children are awake. I try to do them when they're asleep or occupied. And then we do meal prep on Sundays during nap. I film videos on Saturday during nap. That's pretty much my routine. We go to church on Sundays. And then, we plan fun things during these other times. And we just try to keep it pretty much consistent. That's good for us, that's good for our children, and it really helps me maximize my time by building these things into routines and planned things I do often. Now, there may be a lot of things that you still need to do that you can't make a routine during your free time. Sweeping up the kitchen, vacuuming, cleaning the bathrooms, all those things you may need to do while your family's around or during those non-free time hours. But I would encourage you to also build those into a routine. The more we can make these things routines, the more easily it is, the more we don't need to motivate ourselves because we just are on autopilot and it's really easy. So tie those things that you need to do to keep up with your house and stuff like that with other activities. So for example, after you eat supper, clear the table, put the dishes away, do a quick sweep, clean the counters. When your kids are taking a bath or after you just showered or before, maybe clean the bathroom, clean that and do a quick clean of that. After you get ready in the morning, wipe down the counter in your bathroom, maybe clean the toilet. Just try to make it a routine so you don't ever have to be like, oh, I need to clean the house. No, make it a routine. Maybe you vacuum every Sunday. That's when I usually vacuum, and I vacuum in the mornings if it needs it because I do daycare, so our house is always getting dirty. But the more you build those things into routines that you do at certain times tied to certain activities, the more it just happens and your house stays clean, it stays orderly, and you don't need to do a full clean very often. And things like laundry, I have a whole video on how I fit laundry into the equation. I don't even really think about it because it's become such a routine. And then you can tie folding laundry and putting it away to a certain activity as well. Maybe coming home, maybe waking up, maybe while you're watching a show at night or reading a book, you could be folding laundry or listening to an audiobook. Just try to multitask with those more routine, boring tasks that you need to do over and over. They don't require a lot of focus, so just try to build them in and tie them to another routine, and you'll notice that you don't really even have to ever think about it or figure out when you're going to do those things because they're just happening automatically. So when people ask me how I do it all, this is how I do it all. I map it out. I find those times when I can really focus, when I don't have people needing me, and I work hard during those times. I also, during nap time, relax a little bit, or I will listen to a video while I put dishes away at the end, but I have a good solid hour where I'm just focusing and I'm cranking out work, I'm getting stuff done, and it really helps me to be productive by having those blocks of time where I have certain things I do. It's a routine and I just do it. I just think that really is how I get it all done. Routines, 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 routines. Having some flexibility, but it's still part of the routine. You know, on certain days you're going to be flexible and adapt to what's going on, but in general you have the same routines every day and you have the same routine every week. You can shift it here and there and it's totally fine, but in general it's a well-oiled machine, and if you mess it up too much you get overwhelmed. But if you stick with it, you notice that, this is pretty easy to manage. I really hope this video helps you fit in the things that are most important into your day and cut out the things that just aren't as important, or at least not do them as often. Some questions I want to leave you with so you can actually take action on this method are: what do you want to fit into your week that you currently aren't fitting in? Where can you fit that in? If it's that important to you, find a way to fit it in. I know you can do it, but there will need to be shifts. So what will shift? What will move? What will be cut out in place of those things you do want to do? And don't be afraid to switch it up. Try different things. I'm constantly changing my routines. I'm trying different things out, seeing what works for me. And as my kids get older, my life changes, my husband's schedule changes, I change as well, and I think that's healthy. So I just go through this practice again and again over time to make life work for me in that season of life. I hope this video really helps you guys. Let me know if it does, and I will continue to make more of these time management and productivity videos. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.